Broadcasting live from 73-degree downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV, home of not one but two stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Oscar, and I still don't have the other thing back together. And we're brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. I'm having a bitch of a time trying to get that goddamn... I shouldn't have messed with it. I think I might just staple it back together the way it came. I get one side lined up and the other crooked, and then not enough lines on one side, too many on the other. Piece of crap. So, how is everybody doing tonight? I'm back to the original microphone. Hopefully the volume is not too loud. Tomorrow I will be shipping the microphone back to Berlin, Germany. You ought to see the name of the street. It's got to be this long. It's like Hagenfrossi Slusa Massa Strasse. I'm not paying for it. I don't care. I can't wait to see the look on the girls at Staples going, what the hell is this? It's a street. At the end it says Strasse. That's all I'm not good at German, but I know Strasse means street. And Kathy verified it. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it looks like Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Address is 3. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Berlin, Germany. The girl's gonna go, what? I say, hey, you got the QR code, that's got your information. Here's an email to verify it. Yeah, they sent me another email today asking, basically from the minute I unboxed it, how I went to hooking it up, how I went to downloading the software, how I went through all the tests. I mean, they're not doubting. They just want to know how I determined that the headphones weren't working. Well, it's easy. There's a little plug on the back of the microphone. You have a plug on the end of the headphones. It plugs in. That's it. I went in on the software. I made the adjustments it said to make the adjustments. And it didn't work. Yeah, like I explained when I sent them the email, that it sounded like my headphones were packed with cotton. No matter how I adjusted the microphone, I didn't have any volume. And I'm not even sure that what I was hearing was coming out of the microphone. It might have been coming out of my own head. But they're going to send me one right from the factory. And I can guarantee this one that's coming from the factory probably had 50 tests done on it. I think the guy apologized 3 times in the email. That's how embarrassed they are that this mic had a defect. Because he said we have extremely rigorous quality control. Hey, it's a possibility that, coming in a cargo container, bouncing around, that maybe a little tiny solder connection broke. Maybe it was a defective plug from the factory that was due to give out at any time. I mean, they're all concerned about it. I mean, I miss it already because it's the most unique microphone I've ever had. And it's the only one that I've ever seen in a triangular shape. Not to mention it changes colors, which, you know me and colors. So, they can't give me a time span as to when I'll receive the other one, but hey, I didn't pay for it to begin with. I even told them that. I explained the chain that it went through, how it ended up getting to me. And I said, your U.S. supplier shipped, I can't remember if it was 10 or 12, over to my buddy in Burbank to test. And then, like normal, they can't be reused, so resold, even though they weren't sold to begin with. So, every mic manufacturer said just dispose of them whatever way you want. It's just sad that out of the 10 or 12, I got the bum one. Because I talked to him today and was reading the email that I got from Germany. And he goes, you were the only one to get the bad one. I said, well, that's my luck. Hey, shit happens. I'm getting one, they're replacing it anyway. I didn't pay for it. Matter of fact, I told them, I said, you're not obligated to send me one because I didn't buy it to begin with. I was just the end user. And they were like, no. Hey, a company like that, I would almost offer to pay for one. That's unheard of today. Absolutely unheard of. This is a obviously they take extreme pride in their product, which, like I say, is unheard of. But it's billed as a gaming microphone. And, look at the gaming community worldwide. They don't want, can you imagine if this microphone would have gotten the hands of a gamer? That is something that could ruin you, because it goes, across the internet around the world in split seconds. Oh, is that from the fall when she fell out of the nest? I didn't think she got injured, really. Oh, man. I hope that they can get her back 100%, because her and Shadow are the oldest mating couple out there in the valley. Oh shit, really? Wow. Unreal. I wonder why she got attacked. Usually they leave one another alone, I would think. Wow. Well, since you're tracking it, keep me up to date on any news. Although kidney issues don't sound good, neither does the swelling. Man, I hope they get her back to normal. Although I'm sure that they are really diligently keeping a close eye on her. That's a famous eagle couple out there. Those two eagles put Big Bear on the map. Especially this year, when, they got careless and the eggs got attacked, and then she laid another clutch. I kind of, man, this thing, okay, which one is gain and which one is, it's really sounding loud. I gotta crank it down a bit. Now I took it down a notch. To me, it was sounding too loud. I was watching, oh, what the hell's, get my note out, you idiot. Do you have a note? Yeah. The YouTuber who goes by Tragedy Tales, and he has an extreme amount of videos of idiots who basically passed while live streaming, and a lot of them doing dumb ass shit. There was one YouTuber over in China, and for she had a spinning wheel, and challenges. And if a viewer paid money, she would spin the wheel, and whatever the challenge fell on, she would do it. And one was like eating a whole tube of wasabi without stopping, you know. I'm trying to think what some of the other ones were. Of course, they were all written in Chinese, but so and basically, the more money someone would pay her, she would up the challenge. Well, somebody ended up, a group got together, and they ended up with like $1,300 American, which is probably 10,000 in China. I don't know. And it was basically her drinking in rapid fashion a bottle of wine. Well, what it ended up doing, she poured 2 bottles of wine into a bowl. And then somebody said, okay, I'm going to add $100 to it if you put wasabi in with the wine. So she takes the tube of wasabi and then, oh God, I mean, the bowl had wine, it had wasabi, some fruit juice, big deal, you know. And then somebody kicked in, I don't know, like $300 if she would drink it as fast as she could. Well, it shows her with this bowl, and I mean, it's going down the front of her dress and everything. She got about halfway through that bowl, and all of a sudden, she kind of did one of these, and dunk. Luckily, some of her viewers knew where she lived. And when she fell and didn't get back up, they called emergency services. Emergency services got into her apartment. I don't know if they broke the door down or what. And it shows them basically dragging her off camera. They get her to the hospital, and unfortunately, she ended up taking a dirt nap. Well, the medical examiner said that she probably would have just barfed up her guts from drinking all that. What gave her the dirt nap was earlier in the day, she had taken a prescription for antibiotics because she had a little infection going on. Well, a lot of people don't read, and I don't know, maybe in China they don't put all the fucking warnings on. Well, with this antibiotic, you have severe reactions if you drink alcohol. Well, with her consuming like a full bottle and a half of wine and chugging it, the antibiotic set off a deadly chain reaction in her system, and she ended up going into Cadillac arrest. But she collapsed during a live stream. There was another one where a young couple had been doing a marathon stream and drinking. Well, they decided to run to the store. She kept the stream going live. They come out of their apartment. They get in the car. And they start heading to the store. Well, her boyfriend was really inebriated. So he decided, we're going to go to the store quickly, and accelerated to twice the speed limit. And she is basically live streaming, and she tells him, hey, slow down a bit. Right after she said slow down, they had one hellacious accident. And being at night in an area that was not illuminated, they didn't find them until morning. The car looks like a nuclear bomb went off in it. They said the collision was so violent, it literally tore the seatbelts out of their mounts. Now, this was not some piece of garbage car. It was an Audi A5, A6. Whether it be an Audi or any, you know, it is tough getting seatbelts. I mean, I when I was doing some work in one of my other cars, I tried to unbolt the fucking seatbelts from their mounts. They put them bastards in, and they use the world's best Loctite. The accident was so violent, it literally pulled the seatbelt mounts out of the floor. As the car started to roll, evidently her phone broke or something, because then it went black. There was another video of an idiot on a motorcycle seeing how fast he could zig through traffic. And I've seen motorcycles do this, and it's irritating as shit. You know, in, out, down in between two lanes of cars, in, out, in, out, in, out. And he was going like 70 miles an hour because he had a GoPro on. And he'd look down, he'd see the speedometer 60, 70. Well, unbeknownst to him, up ahead, a car had broken down. And right at the point where he approached this car, the owner opened the door to get out to see why his car had broken down. Well, needless to say, a motorcycle doing 70 miles an hour took the door off the car, and he went head first about 200 feet into the pavement, and the GoPro literally showed, because, well, the SD card survived, him coming over and down, and then everything went black. How stupid. First of all, to split traffic like that. Second of all, to film it. Because eventually, law enforcement might happen across your YouTube video. And maybe they'll be lucky enough there'll be some identifying information to find your ass. There was another one. It was a commercial for a resort somewhere. And they paid this, what the hell do they call them, content creator, to go up in a parasail. They paid her to do a commercial for this resort. And she had gone through a week's worth of training. The problem is, all the training was done on land. So they start to shoot the commercial. She's standing on the back of the boat. The sail catches wind, and up she goes, and things are going great. Now, on the rigging for the parasail was a GoPro. So you got the cameraman on the boat, and then you got the camera on her so that they could combine the footage for the commercial. She had been up for about 10 minutes, and for what reason nobody can understand, she unbuckled all the belts. And took off her life vest. She takes off the life vest. She unbuckles the chest belt. She's moving around. Then she reaches down and she unbuckles the 3-point hitch that's holding her in the parasail. And of course, you know, you don't see her hit the water, but you see her fall. And then the cameraman was like, uh-oh, shut this off. Well, he didn't shut it off. They just fuzzed it all out. And they said basically from the height that she fell, when you hit the water, it's like hitting concrete. They still don't understand why she unbuckled herself. Oh, not to mention, her mother was live streaming from the beach. She had set up her TikTok or whatever it was and said, Mom, just film. So Mom was filming. Ruh-roh. Unbelievable shit that people do while live streaming on TikTok and YouTube and Instant Green Cracker and Unbelievable. Oh, I thought it was a little... Now, oh, I'm going to get blinded here in a minute. Which brings us into a perfect segue. I got my book today, Volume 1. As much as I hate spending $30-some, I'm going to get Volume 2 and 3. I'm hoping maybe there'll be a used one on YouTube, or not YouTube, Amazon. The book is Celebrity Death Certificates. And M.F. Steen was the funeral director to the stars. Now, what people don't know, in California, death certificates are public record. Anybody can obtain one. And some of these are interesting. I have a few marked. We're not going to go through them all because I'm going to do like a couple every day. Let's go to number 1. Where is it? Get to the marker. Jack Benny. Some of the writing is tough to read. Pancreatic cancer. Milton Breal. Cardiopulmonary arrest brought on by colon cancer. And these are the actual certificates on file. And there are pages of them. I picked out just a few to toy with tonight here. John Denver. Now, we all know how John Denver passed, don't we? Pilot of airplane which crashed in the ocean. Multiple blunt force trauma. Walt Disney. We all know how Walt Disney passed. Cardiac arrest. How many remember Phil Hartman from Saturday Night Live? This one made national news. I remember this one. Does anybody remember Phil Hartman? His jealous wife blew him away. Cause of death, multiple gunshot wounds. I think she ended up doing herself in too. Although she was a whack ball. Freddie Prinze. I remember Freddie Prinze. Do we remember how Freddie Prinze passed? Gunshot wound through the head. Self-inflicted. Poor Gilda Radner. Oh, I loved Gilda Radner. Oh my God. This one was well publicized when she passed. She had ovarian cancer. Okay, George Reeves. We all remember George Reeves. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Gunshot wound of head. Oh, man, this one's hard to read. I need a light. How many remember Lee Remick? Brain cancer. Roy Rogers. Does anybody remember how Roy Rogers took his dirt nap? He lived in San Bernardino County. Not that I'm familiar with. He died from congestive heart failure. No, we don't want to do that one tonight. No. We'll save that one. We'll save that one. Billy Wilder. Respiratory failure due to pneumonia. Oh. I need a light for this one. Some of the way these doctors write. Jesus. Walter Winchell. How many people remember Walter Winchell? I remember Walter Winchell. Cardiac arrest. I'm going to have to look this one up. It's Monilial, monoleal esophagitis. That was the contributing cause to the cardiac arrest. I've never heard of monoleal esophagitis. I'm going to have to look that one up. Never heard of it. Monoleal Esophagitis. Let me just randomly pick a couple more. Eve Arden. I remember Eve Arden. Cardiac arrest due to arteriosclerotic disease. Some of these stars I don't remember or don't know. Bill Bixby. Why does that name ring a bell? What did he star in? Bill Bixby. Man, that name really rings a bell. I know he was on TV. Bill Bixby. What the hell? God, that name sounds as familiar as can be, but I can't place what he starred in. I recognize the name. Oh, really? That's my, yeah. My favorite Martian. Yeah. Metastatic carcinoma of the prostate. Oh, God, this one is so tiny. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Okay. Amanda Blake. I remember, but how many of you remember Amanda Blake, what she starred in? Oh, come on. We all got to remember Amanda Blake. People, you're letting me down. Oh, my God. Miss Kitty, yes. She died from cardiopulmonary arrest caused by hepatitis. Cardiopulmonary arrest, secondary cause, hepatitis. Let's pick a few more. Like I say, these goddamn books are $30-some. Although this one is 202 pages worth of death certificates. Some of these are really old. Oh, George Burns. Cardiorespiratory arrest brought on by congestive heart failure, brought on by coronary artery disease. Well, God love him. He lived to a ripe old age, that guy. 100 years old. You deserve If you're fighting with those kind of conditions, you deserve to go. Some of these I do not. I might have to throw some of these names out during the next week and see if anybody can remember these people. Eddie Cantor, heart attack. Oh, Truman Capote. God, I remember Truman Capote. Wow. Cause of death deferred. Cause of death deferred. That's interesting. Oh. How many people remember the actor Jack Cassidy? I vaguely remember Jack Cassidy. He was kind of a suave character. He was always smoking. I can't remember what movies he. I remember vaguely Jack Cassidy. Like I say, he was Mr. Suave and debonair, and he always had a cigarette. And extensive thermal burns of the body. Body condition at arrival at coroner. Charred. I'm going to have to look that one up. Body condition at arrival at coroner. Charred. Extensive thermal burns of body. Pardon me. I am going to have to look that one up. Sounds like he was a post-toasty. That's interesting. Charred. I'm going to have to look that one up. Hotel fire. Really? Yeah, it must have been a hell of a fire. He arrived charred. Identification made through dental records. He must have been in pretty bad shape. Charred. Interesting thing on a death certificate. Charred. William Conrad. I remember William Conrad. Cardiopulmonary arrest. Atherosclerotic heart disease. Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper. Carcinoma of colon. It's interesting because a lot of this stuff never hits the news. You know, they say he died, you know. And back then, a lot of times, they didn't publish why. Broderick Crawford. Didn't he play in a lot of detective? Didn't he usually play police-oriented things, Broderick Crawford? Something kind of chimes in my head like detective. Respiratory arrest brought on by pneumonia. Dorothy Dandridge. That one don't ring a bell at all. She died in 65. Dorothy Dandridge. She actually has two. She has an original and a secondary death certificate. Dorothy Dandridge. Highway Patrol. Okay. I knew it was something police-oriented. Dorothy Dandridge don't ring a bell. Accidental overdose. Yeah, the original death certificate says acute drug intoxication. Ingestion of I should maybe just turn on a better light. Looks like tofranil. Tofran, I know. Tofranil. And it says accident, suicide, undetermined. Probable accident. That's the secondary death certificate. I guess when you're a big star, you get more than one. Oh, Porky and Bess. I remember that. I didn't know who the star was. I remember Porky and Bess. Sammy Davis Jr., cardiorespiratory arrest. Brought on by pneumonia. Oh, James Dean, we all know how James Dean went. We don't even have to. Multiple fractures. Multiple internal injuries. Yep, right. James Dean, that's a well-known one, believe me. Oh, Cecil B. DeMille. We all know who Cecil B. is. Congestive heart failure. Good old Cecil B. DeMille died in 59. I was only 8 years old. But that's a big name. Dominique Dunn. Why does that name ring a bell? Dominique Dunn. That name sounds familiar for some reason. I don't know. She was an actress. Dominique Dunn. That name rings a bell, but I can't place Dominique Dunn, actress, died in 82. Why does that name Poltergeist? Really? She died of anoxic encephalopathy due to strangulation. Homicide. Jimmy Durante, terminal pneumonia. If I'm boring everybody, let me know. I'll put the book down. I just got this thing shortly before airtime. A friend of mine who is really morbid was telling me about it, and I says, oh, I'll buy one. Then I went online at Amazon and went, holy shit. I can't buy all three at once, but I am going to buy the other two because this has got me going now. William Frawley. We know who William Frawley is. Heart attack. Clark Gable. Heart attack. Guess it don't pay to be a movie star. Kind of hard on the heart. Janet Gaynor. She was a dancer, wasn't she? Wasn't Janet a dancer? I think she was a dancer. Just says actress, self-employed, motion pictures and theater. I'm pretty sure Janet Gaynor was a dancer. Died from pneumonia. How old was she? 77. She was a dancer. Okay. Some things kind of just boing. I was never really a big movie buff, but some names jump out. Oh, Gail Gordon. Names. Gail Gordon. What did he play in? I can't place Gail. I remember the name. I can't place. Man, names are jumping out at me, but what they acted. Mr. Mooney. Okay. He died of cardiopulmonary arrest brought on by lung cancer. George Harrison. Metastatic non-small cell lung cancer. During the week, we'll throw out some of these really obscure ones that I have no idea who they are. Bryn Hartman, Brynn. Brian, Bryn or Brian Hartman. Have no idea who Bryn or Brian. Must be Brian. This certificate's hard to read. Oh, wait a minute. That's Hartman. Yeah, that's Phil Hartman's wife. Duh! Bryn. Gunshot wound of head. I was pretty sure she did herself in after she did him. Although I know she called several people and... Yeah, Bryn, Brynn, yeah. Although it could have been Brian. Yeah, Bryn. That's right. Phil Hartman's wife. I remember that because she called a bunch of people and said, "Oh, you ain't gonna believe what I did." And they were like, "No, we don't believe it." Good thing the kids were at the babysitter. No, the kids were in the house. The kids were in the... That's right. The kids didn't see what happened, but the kids were in the house. I remember the police taking them out. Alfred Hitchcock died at 80 years old in 1980. Chronic congestive heart failure brought on by pneumonia and heart disease and renal failure. Man, he went, old Hitchcock didn't die up. Okay. This one was big, mainly because when Noguchi, who was the coroner, listed the cause of death, this person's girlfriend went berserk. And I think she was responsible for him getting fired. William Holden. Remember his cause of death? And it wasn't so much what's on the death certificate, it's what Noguchi said that pissed her off, and she went berserk. How many remember the circumstances around William Holden? And then the explosion from Stephanie Powers. I'm pretty sure she got Noguchi fired. If not, he got reprimanded by the medical board. I'm not sure. Something tells me Noguchi got fired over the William Holden thing. Because you remember what Noguchi said in public? Oh, Ron, I figured you'd be Mr. Trivia. I figured you'd be right up there. Ron must be Googling right now. What happened was, and I remember a lot of this. He tripped on a throw rug next to his bed, hit his head on the nightstand, and put a huge, deep fucking gash in his head. And instead of calling for help, he laid down on the bed and basically put a towel on his head or something, and he fucking bled to death. And Noguchi, after doing testing, said he was fucking hammered. And had he not been drunk, he probably would have had enough wits about him to call for help. Also, being that highly intoxicated, it thins the blood and it just pours out like a faucet. And he basically bled to death. And Stephanie Powers, who was his girlfriend for years, she did not want him being known as a drunk. And I remember her, she threw a shit fit in the news and everything, saying, that tarnished his image and so on and so forth. And I think she got Noguchi fired. Because Noguchi had the title of Coroner to the Stars. But it was true. He was blitzed. Although his neighbor said he was an extremely private person. But you would think, if you're bleeding that bad, wouldn't you pick up a phone and call for help? No. He laid down on the bed, I'll be okay. And he frickin' bled to death. And if basically Noguchi would have just said he had a fall, he might have been knocked unconscious, but Noguchi said his blood alcohol level was like 2.5 times the limit. I remember that because Stephanie Powers, she was on TV everywhere. Anytime she could get in front of a camera, she laid into Noguchi. Well, that didn't help. Lay there for 4 days and bleed. That didn't help. But had he just said, Oh, he tripped, he hit his head, he might have knocked unconscious. No, Noguchi went, oh, he was fucking hammered. And I remember that. Because Stephanie Powers was in Heart to Heart. And I used to watch Heart to Heart. The plots were always so hokey, but I enjoyed watching the show. And with her being that famous, oh, I remember her going berserk. I remember that almost like it was yesterday, and Christ, that was when? 91? Is that what this says? Some of the shit's hard to read. 81. 81? Could be an 8, could be a 9. Typewriter wasn't that clear. Oh, yeah, and he had fatty metamorphosis of the liver, which means he had cirrhosis. Because William Holden was known to tip a few. Hedda Hopper. I remember hearing the name. Oh, yeah. Actress and columnist. Yeah, Hedda Hopper. She wrote for what? New York Times? I vaguely remember Headless Hopper. Heart disease. Anytime you want me to stop, say so. I'm on a roll. Curly Howard, stroke. Mo Howard, lung cancer. Shemp Howard, heart attack. Rock Hudson. Everybody remembers The Rock. Cardiac arrest. I'll throw some of these out tomorrow, and because they're going to have to be Googled. David Jansen, another one deferred. Cause of death deferred. Interesting. George Jessel. I remember, well, in reruns I remember George Jessel. I did cardiac arrest. See, like some of these, we're going to have to look them up. Ruby Keller. Don't ring a bell. She died in 93. Ruby Keller. I mean, all of these people basically are celebrities from Hollywood. But the names don't ring a bell. Victor Killian. Don't ring a bell. That don't help that. Nancy Culp. Why does that name ring a bell? Nancy Culp. She died in 91. Actress. Nancy Culp. Yeah, Ruby Keller. Where is it? Ruby Lee Keller. Ruby. Her stage name was Ruby Keeler. Keeler. I'm sorry, Keeler. Ruby Keeler. Actress. Film. Entertainment. Ruby Keeler. Don't recognize that one at all. Her middle name was Keeler. Her real name was Ruby Keeler Lowe. It says actress. Died from kidney cancer. But Nancy Culp. Not Keller, Keeler. 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 Why does Nancy Culp ring a bell? She died in 91, actress. Nancy Culp. Did she play like a maid or something? Housekeeper? Why is that? Miss Jane. Oh, really? Jane Hathaway. Yeah, Beverly Hillbillies. Why did I say housekeeper? She died from throat cancer. She died from throat cancer. "50 years old. Hey, Fernando Lamas. Cardiopulmonary arrest. Now, I remember the name, Dorothy Lamour. I can't place, it says actress, Dorothy Lamour, cardiac arrest, died in 96. Burt Lancaster. I remember Burt Lancaster. Died in 94. Coronary artery disease. Oh, really? The On the Road, all those On the Road movies, On the Road, Mandalay, yeah. She played in those, huh? Like I say, the name rang a bell. Couldn't place what she did. Michael Landon. Well, we remember Michael Landon from Bananas. Pancreatic cancer. Yeah, I remember that. Boy, I'll tell you what, he literally wasted away to nothing. I remember seeing pictures shortly before he passed, and man, he was half the person he used to be. Should I keep going? I have 200 pages. I'm enjoying this. And just think, I'm going to order 2 more books. I'll be in celebrity death certificates for the next 10 years. Okay. Peter Lawford. He was connected with the Kennedys, wasn't he? I don't remember so much his acting career, but I remember he was connected with the Kennedys. Cirrhosis of the liver. Oh man, the print's so tiny on this one. Gypsy Rose Lee. Her real name was Rose Louise Hovick. And it actually has Gypsy Rose Lee on her death certificate. Atrial fibrillation. That means her heart went out of whack and they couldn't get it back. Oh, Liberace. Pending. The death certificate says pending. Pending. That's because his agent really hushed that one up. Let's see if there's a number 2. Is there a number 2? Oh, there is. Let's see what the secondary death certificate says. HIV. The original death certificate says pending, and the secondary says HIV. Okay, this is a name that sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Audra Lindley. Audra Lindley. That name is ringing a bell, but I can't place her. Lindley. Audra Lindley. I don't know why it's banging on my brain. She died 97. Actress, entertainment. I can't. Oh, really? She died from leukemia. See, I can, the names, like I say, the names ring a bell. I can't place what they played in. I might have to just start at page 1 and... Ooh, Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi. Blood clot of the heart. He had a blood clot go into his heart. Good old Bela Lugosi. I want to drink your blood. Okay. Here's another one. The name, but I can't place. Ida Lupino. See, a lot of these just say actress, film, motion picture. The name sounds familiar. I can't place anything. Ida Lupino. I can't place Ida Lupino. The name ticks a square. Actress, writer, director, producer. Boy, she did everything. Died from pneumonia brought on by metastatic colon cancer. I don't know why that name ticks a box. Oh, we all know the next one. Paul Lynde. I remember Paul Lynde mainly from, he was the center square on Hollywood Squares. Oh, she made budget film. B movies, huh? Paul Lynde. Remember good old Paul Lynde? I miss Paul Lynde. Boy, I'll tell you what, he had some one-liners that would just break you up. Heart attack. Acute myocardial infarct. Massive heart attack. Fred McMurray. My Three Sons. Sepsis syndrome. Urinary tract infection. Sepsis syndrome, secondary cause, urinary tract infection. Holy shit. He had a UTI and it brought on sepsis? Holy yutcha-fuck. And the shit that I went through for a month? Wow. That's scary. Sepsis syndrome, secondary cause, urinary tract infection. Holy shit. He must not have been treating that. Unbelievable. That is scary. You guys know what I went through for a fucking month? It brought on sepsis. He must have waited till the last fucking minute to go to a hospital. Let's see if he went to a hospital. Let's see if they list place of death. Residence. He never bothered going to a frickin' hospital. Unbelievable. Died at his residence. Sepsis syndrome, secondary cause, urinary tract infection. That is scary. Good thing I went to the doctor right away. Although, I didn't have much choice. Christ, I was pissing a flamethrower. Guy Madison. Died in 96. Movie industry, actor, Guy Madison. Respiratory arrest. Cause. Smoking history. Doe. Doe. As I'm putting out a cigarette. Marjorie Main. Marjorie Main. Wild Bill Hickok. Really? Wow. I didn't know that. I remember Wild Bill Hickok. Oh, wow. You guys are good. How about Marjorie Main? She died in 75. Actress. Motion pictures, self-employed. I like that one. I like that one. First time I've seen that one. Actress, self-employed, motion pictures. Yeah, I would think so. She was Markel? She died from heart disease brought on by diabetes. Dean Martin. Respiratory arrest brought on by lung cancer. Good old Dino. I enjoyed the Dean Martin roasts. All right. Here's a name that rings a bell. I can't place. Dean Paul Martin. Oh, Dean Paul Martin. That was his son. Yeah, that was Dean Martin's son. He died in a plane crash. A military plane. He flew it in the side of a mountain. Yeah, it's all coming back now. Yeah, he flew his military plane right in the side of a mountain. Walter Matthau, cardiac arrest. Brought on by atherosclerotic heart disease. Oh, Audrey Meadows. Audrey Meadows, actress, television. She was Honeymooners, wasn't she? Audrey Meadows? I got that right? Was she Honeymooners? She was William Frawley's wife, wasn't she? Or was she Jackie Gleason's wife? Jackie Gleason's wife, Audrey Meadows. Honeymooners. I got that right? The second guess? Lung cancer. Ooh, this one looks interesting. I need the light. Salminio. Salminio. Movies, TV, and theater. This is a good one. How many remember Salminio? This is a good one. Massive hemorrhage. Stab wound to chest. Perforation of heart. Homicide. Place of homicide. Alley. He got stabbed in an alley right in the chest. Wow. $1976. Wow. Yeah, stab. It says here, massive hemorrhage, stab wound to chest, perforating the heart. Homicide, place of injury, alley. He was in an alley. What was he doing in an alley? Well, he was getting stabbed. Okay, we're going to do two more, and then we'll stop, and I'm going to mark the page. We'll pick up tomorrow with some more if you want. We have Robert Mitchum, who basically died from respiratory arrest from emphysema. And the last one we all know. What a way to end the show. The last one we all know. Marilyn Monroe. And I don't even need to read the cause of death because the world knows. Good old Marilyn. Acute barbiturate poisoning. Ingestion of overdose. And that's where we'll stop for tonight. And I promise I won't peek. We'll just wing them again tomorrow. I might go back to the beginning because I did skip over some. All right, one from the beginning. I don't recognize Mary Astor. She died in 87. Actress, various studios, motion picture industry. That one don't ring a bell at all. Mary Astor. Before we end, we got to know, somebody got to tell me who the hell Mary Astor was. It says actress, various studios, motion picture industry. Matter of fact, she died in the motion picture TV hospital. Maltese Falcon. Really? I'd have never guessed that. She died from respiratory failure brought on from pulmonary emphysema. It's interesting because, you know, over the years, like I say, a lot of these names tick the box. But, you know, I was never heavy into movie and TV. Some names, yeah. But it's really interesting knowing what they died from. I hate having to spend $34 a piece for 2 more of these, but I'm hooked already. So I guess I will be buying them in segments. Buy number 2 next month and number 3 the following month. They're all in Amazon. This is issue 1. He has 2 and 3. And I am hooked now. I'm going to have to buy 2 and 3. But I can't afford to buy them all at once. $34, these are expensive. This one was a used copy, although you can't even tell, that I got for $29. Big deal. I use, you know, when I buy a book, it's $5, $6, $7. Let me see if it says when these were printed. Of course, stuff like this, I can see why it's expensive and holds its value because, first of all, the guy went to a lot of work getting all these death certificates. Since 2003, but that can't be. There is no way these goddamn things are this expensive. It can't be. These had to have been printed sooner than 2003. Because there ain't no way they're going to hold that kind of volume. Well, you know, let me put this down. Make sure that where we stopped. I've mentioned this many times. I bought every single book that Joan Rivers wrote, plus the 2 books that her daughter put together after she died. Now, every book that Joan wrote, I bought off of the Amazon used book area. I didn't pay more than $5, maybe $6 at the most. And I have every book she wrote. one of the two books that Melissa put together after she died was like $65. I got a library copy for like $12, and it was like brand new. The second one she put together was basically like when she went through her apartment and went through her storage locker, and that book was $45, and I got it a used library copy that looked brand new for like $13. I think that's the most that I ever paid. But every single book that Joan wrote, I didn't pay over $6. I got Steve Jobs' autobiography, and I told you, 601 pages. Library copy. I don't think anybody ever cracked it, because, libraries get 10, 15, 20. I wanted it bad. I paid 18. Now, the book was 60. I was extremely happy because I read that son of a bitch in 2 nights. What else did I get? Oh, I can't remember the pilot's name. The one from Southwest that had the engine blow up and it blew a window out and killed a woman. I paid like $7 for that. I refuse to buy brand new books. I paid, like I say, $28 for this one. There's volume 2 and volume 3. And they look just like this. M.F. Steen is the author. And it's number 2 and number 3. They're $34 a piece. As much as I hate paying that, I will. But over the span of 2 more months, unless I can find another library copy. But I am fucking hooked now. I have to get edition 2 and 3. And I got this off of Amazon. Mainly because my buddy told me he got his off of Amazon. But see, he bought all 3. He bought the whole set. I asked him. I said, let me borrow them. He said, fuck you. I paid, $130 for 3 frickin' books. He goes, you want to buy them yourself? So I bought number 1. I want 2 and 3. Because it's... I'm morbid anyway. I'm loving this. I am loving this. I didn't expect to do a whole show out of this book. Once I got going, I couldn't fucking stop. But we're halfway through. I will go through some of the early ones in the front because they're kind of obscure to me. Now, this guy died in 1977. Richard Carlson. Actor, freelance, motion pictures. Richard Carlson. See, and then another one, Lee Carrillo. Leo Carrillo. I'll start in the front. because I skipped over quite a bit. If I didn't recognize the names, I was like, "Rrr." And then I figured my wonderful audience out there, and you guys were hitting them too. But if you want, we'll do more. I'm hooked. I am hooked. Gonna piss me off that basically we'll go through cover to cover and then I'll have to wait to buy another book. But like I say, I got a buddy that's morbid as shit. And well, it's okay if you Googled. I needed answers. And I know you got Google on speed dial. And I appreciated every answer. And Ron popped in with one I had no idea. Oh, now I have to go to Carlson. I love that movie. I love that movie. Where's Carlson? Now you got me going. Creature from the... Oh my God, I love that fucking movie. I had that thing on VHS. Richard Carlson, what did he die from? Oh, we got another one that wrote like a doctor. Oh, Christ. I can't even make out the last word. Subarachnoid, something that starts with an N. And the way he scribbled it, I'm going to put a marker in that one. I'm going to have to try to decipher that fucking doctor's writing. He definitely wrote like a doctor on the goddamn death certificate. I will put a marker in there and figure out what he died from. And with that, oh man, I had fun tonight. I'll tell you what, had I gotten something like that when I was married to my son's mother, I'd have been sleeping on a cot in the garage. She didn't like horror movies. She didn't like blood, guts, and gore. We would go over to my sister's house when she was married to my brother-in-law. And her and I would watch a program called, at that time, The Operation. And it was doctors that did live fucking surgery on TV. Now, my brother-in-law, Mr. Big and Macho, would get sick. He'd start watching it. He would literally get sick. My wife at the time would get up and leave the room. And she wouldn't speak to me or my sister till that program was over. Because my sister's as sick as I am. She would love these books. Because she is so much like me. Matter of fact, the next time I talk to her, I'm going to tell her, you'll never guess what I got. I hate spending the money. Because everybody knows I'm cheap. And $34 is a lot of money for that book. I might read it a couple more times, go through it. It's not like Gone with the Wind where I might read it once a year, although I've never read it. So that is a lot of money to spend for a goddamn book. But I'm fucking hooked now. He's got me hook, line, and sinker. He's got that hook right here. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Okay, okay. And there's 2 more editions. Yeah, I wish it would have said that in there. I couldn't even make out the last word. So that's what he died from. Brain hemorrhage. Why didn't he just put brain hemorrhage? Oh, he's got this big medical fucking term in there. Okay, I can pull a marker out of that page later. But I'll start from the front. Because it appears we're all having fun, so why not go from page 1 all the way up to page 202, and we'll skip over the ones we already did, but in a way I can see why my buddy won't give them up, because if it was the opposite right now, I'd tell him the same thing. Buy your own fucking books. So look forward to more tomorrow. We won't even have a topic for the show. That's it. We're just going to start reading celebrity death certificates. I'm loving it. Oh, God. I hate the thought of spending $35. Oh, God. Times 2. Asshole has to... He couldn't put them all in one. He had to do 3. And you figure there's a lot of stars. If he wrote 3 books, it's got to be every actor, actress, producer, director on Earth. And we probably know 85% of them. Like Bill Bixby. The name just checked a box, and I was like, I know him. But it checked the box here. It didn't check the box over here. That's why I needed help. And there'll be a lot more. I said Bill Bixby, and guess who comes trotting in here? Your name ain't Bill Bixby. It's Jabba the Gut. Oh, the sad look that he... I don't know how he can do that sad look. I know you're starving. You're going to fall over from hunger. Not. Well, let's turn the volume down. We don't want to...
We'll meet again.
Yeah, good old Bootsy. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. I had a ball. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. There's no way I can stretch that 3 days. There's no way. Damn it, I'm open. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Take care. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow with more of Celebrity Death Certificate. Bye-bye.